over a lot of great talent. I think Sauce was an incredible pickup. Why Metasport let him go, I don't know, but look what happened to Metasport now. They're a non-existent team these days. So I think Wildcard have got away with an absolute freebie. So mid-take is where we're going for here. M80 are just flying in towards the fights. JBA going to be this first contact. This is a big ask for him. Dinked down early. So has to dip away. Julies can't come up for the first as Sin will light up the server. Sonic going to get caught. And already off to a good start. Late going to add to the tally as well. And one by one, they're really just taking this A site with ease.
Kills all over the place. Cheers all over the place from the crowd as well. Susp will battle back, bring it down to the 3 versus 3. There's a kit available. There's a low HP player. His name is Sin. M80 have got their work cut out on this one. Good, risky move from Susp to gather the information. Lovely. Double peek comes in, though. They will grab the all-important kill. Still this kit, but this feels like a really good setup, to be honest. A lot of keen headshots need to be landed. Friend, yeah, split between two. What's he going to do? M80 will indeed take the pistol.
And the number one thing you don't want to do when playing up against M80 is let them get loud. Don't allow Lake to talk his talk, because he'll also walk the walk as well. We saw in a Pro League, calling out players like Elise, for example, and then beating them. You know, these sort of small things can fire up a team. And since he's come in, you know, you see a lot of players when they join into a new team, they come in a little timid. You know, you don't want to upset the apple cart, so to say, but he came in loud and he's really been a fantastic player so far. So yeah, great round coming through. Sin with a 3K, Lake with 2. And M80, of course, first one on the board, and probably going to be the second as well. There is a no-buy out for Wildcard. And as a 4 of them, they've got ramp control. No one's here towards Shelf, but I think it's too late, fellas. They're basically just about to pop on towards A.
Yeah, Flash came in. Could be in cave, unfortunately, so they're not really going to figure out the A play until it is far too late. Still, any damage is good damage here. Take a gun, especially if it's like getting that AK out of the mixture. Could be very beneficial in the short term. In fact, that next round is their first outing. All 4 USPs in from behind. Slacks knows what's up. He takes one, but he is very much aware that there's multiple around this corner. Still feeling excitable for it, though. He's hoping for some support to come his way. Let's try and, you know, take these players down. You can see, though, M80, no messing around. Full discipline here. Do not give the chance at all. What's going on in the smoke? Oh, Stan, he's been hurt. A bullet hit him, I think, unfortunately.
Just a small thing there. I mean, real credit to Slacks on that discipline, because he knows the USPs and he knows they've not got armor. So you could so easily, if you're a player with, you know, who's a little bit more fired up, you could very much go, I'm trying to get some stats here. This is, you know, these are free kills for me. I can at least get maybe 3 and then get traded. But he realizes there's a much longer term outlook towards this game. Let's build up our economy. Let's not give them any rifles for free. And let's make sure we have all the positives with no sort of downturns at all. So if they're just going to rein himself back in, he very easily could have stuck around for a couple more there. And he probably would have got a couple more. But he knows that the risk on the other side of dropping a gun, maybe having his economy out of line with the rest of his team, it's not worthwhile. This is the first round, though, that we're looking into, and it's an important one. Wildcard, first full buy. One player that I want to see get active, JBA. Apple's a chop and block. I'd have to disagree. I think, for me, he's one of the brightest futures in this North American scene. He's a real talent. I've been enjoying him. I did a top 10 list at the start of the year, and he was number 10 on my kind of ones to watch for the future. And I think if he plays to his level, he can be good. And he gets one, but he will get traded.
Yeah, the mid-crunch successful from M80. Stand still close to the action. And a full freeze here from the T side as they do not look to waste their advantage. Just trying to keep the tension up. Maybe Wildcard will reveal their hand, reveal their locations. This is where it gets a bit dangerous. There is such a thing as too much respect, too much discipline, I guess you could argue. So, as you can see, Wildcard are getting good timing, clearing information. Might be a player they could catch in transition here. Unfortunately, Stan is fully trapped away. So, a bomb site. It's well defended here.
Couple of players. A lot of this, I feel like, for me, really comes down to whether Sin wants the test or not. He doesn't. And now, Friend has the support as well. Stuff's up close. Has to get at least a couple here if they want a chance in this round. 1 for 1 might not be enough. There's the first. The second eludes him as Rack will trade. And now Friend, the new boy on the block, not had really time to play with this side, and he's stepping into a big roll on land. Spam just above where that bomb was going down, and now they're smoked out. There's a world in which they just keep out of the guns.
Yeah, very, very possible. They're not going to know about
No kit
the damage
either.
done. Yeah, there's nothing for them, really. So doesn't make any sense to go for it, unfortunately. A small misread. We've got to keep our eyes on it. It's a big deal when it comes to land friend. It didn't necessarily join up with Susp. It felt like a two-man play, you know, to defend that site, and he was still eyes on middle. Maybe that's what he's been told to do, don't get me wrong, but that sort of unspoken coordination that you get after so many hundreds of hours of practicing and playing officials together is obviously not going to be there. Doesn't quite know Susp's tendencies, what he's up to, what his plans are. So we'll see here. Certainly something to discover in that round. It might become an issue for them.
It's true. Oh, yeah, unfortunate in that sense. JBA did get us one, though, but he's got overwhelmed. There's a really nice mid take coming through. Two separate flashes get thrown over that wall in towards mid. So, when they're both players, if you're playing over towards Red Room or somewhere in around Donut, you don't really get that much control. You get flashed off, and same if you're playing up close towards Shelf. Hence what happened to JBA. Yeah, so far it's been tough, though. Sonic and Friend yet to get a kill. JBA on one. Stan and Susp on two apiece. They're really struggling to get active here. Swisher yet to frag, but not really being required at the moment. There's a buy, of course, around what they did save. Double MP9 brought to the table. I guess thankfully they have a kit this time as well. They have a few of them. Not a lot of utility though, so they can't really afford to use it that early in towards the round. They've got to keep hold of it, but that works because M80 been playing very slow out the gates in the rounds.
Must have been a pain point in the previous round. Potentially, if they did have that kit available, they might have gone for the 2v3, and now it seems they've really made sure they've got the kits. Which on your sort of low buy round, as it were, I feel like that's where you would neglect them slightly for a bit more utility. But here we are.
And interesting as well when you see rounds like this where like Sus, for example, has 650, why he just doesn't get another bit of util coming through, or same like Sonic, for example, he's got a HE, something along those lines. But either way, into the round, and Swisher gets out in front of the smoke. We're peeking here. That's a bad decision from Susp. I don't think he expected them that close, but it cost his life, and Stan back turn.
It's the smoke.
Surely the expectation was that they were going to swing, but they overwhelmed. Sonic will get one, but this is a big ask.
Yeah, that's communication kind of going sideways, and the fact that I suppose, unfortunate timing as the line goes smoke, not a brick wall, but they put that smoke down, and the fact that they started walking through it before it even bloomed. You know, they knew the position that they were in, and such a large chunk of the T side. I would argue they get a bit lucky with that timing.
Well, Wildcard not feeling very lucky at the moment. 0-4. Still a really tough predicament that they're in. They'll keep hold of these three guns. There's two rifles and one SMG for JBA, and unfortunately no real ability to upgrade at the moment unless he makes a little bit of a run for it, but doesn't seem like he's too tempted. This is a bit of a breeze, you know. It doesn't really look all that competitive at the moment, unfortunately, for Wildcard, but at the same time, is there any expectations for them to be competitive, right? For Wildcard aside, you know, we already have kind of delved into it, but this obviously doesn't seem to be the competition that they're focusing on. The RMRs is where they're looking. They haven't practiced with Friend, so M80 for them, this is a tournament that they want to win, because for M80, it's about cementing where they're at. You know, there's even still, despite Pro League and what was an incredible performance, you still get the few people who be like, yeah, it was a fluke though, it was a one-off run. But winning a challenger like this really cements it and saying, no, we actually are a side who can compete with top teams. We can actually win trophies and get some silverware under our belt. So that's what we're looking towards for M80, as well, starting to build a bit of their own legacy and actually becoming a certified tier 1 team. And I guess for us as well, that man on your screen, just now in the background, Def, UK, we've got to support him. As Brits ourselves, we've got to back him. You say he's an American.
America of all the places as well, you know, like...
He's a British flag on HLTV, he's British in my books.
That's fair. That is fair.
Also, I don't know, I think when you're called Rory, that's very English to me as well. So I feel like at that point, no matter, you could change your nationality and you're still English at heart. So as a Brit, we've got to support him. And of course, it's really good to see him kind of, back into Counter-Strike, obviously with his M80 project, but then also succeeding as well. It's been a hot minute since we've seen him kind of in the CS scene before this M80 stint. So I'm glad that he's doing well. And M80 are doing well, of course, all vying for that trophy there. TAC pause turned tech pause, it seems, but I'll be back underway in just a moment. But 4-0 for M80. Again, unfortunately, like most games we've had in the best of one today, not really too much competition just yet. No one's really broken a sweat if you're winning.
A series of expositions today, I think, is the problem. So, yeah, it's a tough one for sure, but I think this should pick up. A lull in play, again, is never nice in your first game on the first day. That man here, screen susp, has been shaky. And this, it's not a good look, is it? Not a good look to have the lackadaisical swing, the slow communication, so Stan doesn't really understand how close they are or what's going on. You know, Cave is quite a big place, if that was all your call out was. Back into the action, though, of course. A couple 5-7s in the mixture, but the buy, considering the expense, is not all that bad for Wildcard. Eventually, one of these rounds has got to fall into place.
Yeah, surely, right? 2 rifles, 2 5.7s, and an MP9, hoping to make things work. Boost over for Slacks doesn't spot anything. It's a boost that a couple of the EU teams have already been trying to implement, but it does get countered quite a lot now. A lot of teams hold that first and then flick down, especially when the shadows start to come and creep through. It's a bit of an early A presence, but then no commitment. And then they're leaving Swisher as this lurking sort of anchor over here, and at least to a degree, he's doing a decent job of just keeping attention drawn. You can see, actually, French starting to rotate over, but so's the bomb.
It's coming back. They're still indecisive here. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird look for M80. They feel some pressure, I think, after attack into a tech. What are Wildcard cooking up? A lot of utility used by this T side as well. If you look at what they have left, it's only 1 smoke.
Yeah.
Which, with the B lean, and it would seem the B finish, that's not going to cover everything. They've opted the right-hand side. Are they faking, though? The bomb is other side of the map right now. This is a wild kind of call. 25 seconds left as he starts this sprint. They are not quite biting just yet. Maybe as the kills come in and the pressure, is being applied. It's actually a nice spin here from M80. Clearly a worked out round. And let me tell you, it's worked very, very well indeed. Advantage in their favor. Maybe a little bit more going to come here. I doubt you expect anyone in the donut. And another save for the CT side, it has to be. Yeah,
and to the second as well. I mean, they're getting that bomb down with like 6 seconds on the clock, basically. So credit to M80. It's a big mid-round adjustment from Sin there to kind of call them back when they're already so far forward. You got one boosted in towards box, one who's already pushed up ramp on towards B, and then they rein it back and they go for the CT rotation too. So yeah, real big call, but it works perfectly. And especially the second a kill or two start to come on towards that B site, it immediately drags the whole pack over because they've got a bit of a half buy. They just want to play the numbers game and hope that they can trade. And yeah, unfortunately works against them. Maybe in a bit of a full buy situation, you still leave an anchor over towards A, like Sonic, for example, who was playing towards boxes, and not to be. Sops will actually die there at the end, which is definitely not anything else you want on a side that's already really struggling. But in a similar vein that we had in our previous games, unfortunately, while it's one-sided, it's also quite a flat game, right? It's just very run through the motions, get your space, take the round, and Wildcard are quite easy being moved out the way.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't point back to a moment where you're like, okay, this is where it broke apart, or this is where, if only they'd clutched that, they could have broken the bank, and then they'd be forced into a weird kind of eco situation, etc. We're just not getting any of this conversation right now. It's like M80 playing a better game. What I will say, compared to maybe a couple of the openers, it's not just clicking on people that's going better. We have just seen in that previous round, saw in the first rifle, some good ideas, some good tactics. There's still a lot of respect from M80 that Wildcard, as we like to say in the UK scene, can shoot back.
Yes.
And I think that they are playing a very solid team game, therefore.
Good to see a good crowd out here in Atlanta as well. Hope everyone's enjoying it so far. Normally those DreamHack events, they're, very fun. I've heard good things. Never been to one, but heard good things. And obviously got a decent little showing out there in Atlanta. We've got plenty more Counter-Strike over the next few days. So, of course, make sure to continue joining us. Got best of 3 to end the day, and then tomorrow, Sunday, of course, for that grand final. So we're looking forward to it. You guys join us all the way throughout. We're back underway. 5-0 for M80. Light work for them so far. Back into the buy for Wildcard. Friend got out as AWP, yet to get a kill. Now would be a pretty good time, mate. We need to see you get active. Slack's got an AWP out himself. T-Side AWPing Ancient can be a little bit uncomfortable at times. A big control taken as well, which is big, but those nades are going to rain down as Stan just chipped down a little bit by the 3 that were thrown over.
Slack's on the search. Swisher looking for this first opportunity as well. It feels like good lane control from M80, but it could really fall apart. Very, very heavy mid presence from Wildcard. Good timing is going to be everything. Swisher's jump in. Stanislaw will be communicating that. I think Sonic is waiting to hear another sort of cue before he goes up for this peak. And as well, Wildcard seem aware of the fact that M80 are playing this slow game. So good timing. Peak comes in. No one really around the corner. Okay, so let's not change too much up. Swisher could overlook this corner angle if he tries to go hunting. That player. Steps being made. Stan with the frag and a full confirmation, I would argue, that there's no one out towards B. Let's prep for the A.
Good patience has to be said from Stan there as well. Doesn't peek until what ends up being absolutely perfect. JBA. A smoke thrown towards CT. He'll call a rotation over his friend. Comes to back him up. Bomb is in this direction. Now we're going to start to make a commitment as well. Bomb on the back of the IGL. JBA going to start to tick in that molly. Swings out, down he goes. Susp comes over for support. His friend gets one, but gets traded. This is a little awkward. As Susp falls, friend gets smoked out, and they can't deny that bomb going down. It's a tough retake, and it's not going to help losing your head.
Yeah, Rek takes the risky move and potentially wins the round off the back of it. I think this will be another save situation for the Wildcard squad. Yeah, really nice move from Rek. Because even if you go down there, you've traded info, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well found. Good gap. They are sticking around here, looking to just keep the pressure up. You never know. Late retake. There's not a lot of time left on the bomb. Only 10 seconds gone. It's not planted anywhere near default either. So they're getting kills. Sonic is able to dip away. Should get away from the bomb, not taking any damage while being in the site. Still a little close, but he's all good. And so they do take some guns away, which is relatively valuable.
It's true.
Given how one-sided things are becoming.
Quite a few M80 jerseys as well in the crowd, which is good to see. Pretty cool merch as well. Def has a bit of a conversation with the gang, and obviously so far, so good. A really simple showing. Good to see that friend at the very least got his kill with the AWP. Maybe you can see him get active. We've got something to work with going forward, but at the moment for Wildcard, it's been a bit of a lackluster display. These two teams have played Ancient 39 times combined. Yeah, it is both of their first picks, generally in vetoes. More often than not, both of them will pick into it, and I think as well, one of them which they've had quite a bit of confidence on. I mean, for Wildcard in particular, 25 times last 2 months for them. M80 in 50% of their vetoes, so bang on half. They pick in towards this map. So basically, probably the only time they don't pick into it is if there's a real distinct punish pick to come through. But Ancient's always been very good for them. We've seen them play at the top level and play it well.
That is a lot of tape, though, my dog. That is a lot of tape. So it seems like M80 have potentially watched it all. Cannot stop winning right now. Another opening frag goes their way. Stan trying to mix things up with some aggression. Goes south. Susp sticking around. I think taking a few licks from the fire. A really clean advantage now for M80, and it's going to be tough. Wildcard have got to make a move if they want to get back into this.
Yeah, this North American derby is not offering up a lot for Wildcard at the moment, and now with this numbers disadvantage, we've got to get active. You have to try and bring the numbers back in your favor. You have to try and get up in their face a little bit. Can't allow M80 to continue dictating the pace of every single round and getting very easy map control and not really having to work for too much space. Once again, mid control taken. No commitment of the bomb, but we're early rotating here, the Wildcard side. And it's wrong.
Well, this is the move they're trying to make, right? This is the risk. This is the attempt at finding some kind of a reward. Friend in an advanced position. He will get a smoke down. He has maybe seen this round. And that cuts them off completely. A lot of noise being made. JBA is in position to hear them, to cut them off potentially. It's only one for him, unfortunately. Nothing happens in on B, but Sonic, the lone defender, is at least ready for A. He sprays down one, can't get any more. So every time they take a step forward, they lose 2 steps back. It's another close plant. It allows Sus to get in, can't win his fight. Down to the AWP, and the flick is too wide. Rex sees it off. Flawless. Half continues here for M80.
Yeah, these mid to late rounds are really, really effective. And again, as all the credit has to go towards Sin. I think On the Fly is doing a very, very good job of just pulling apart this wildcard side. And it's been very, very easy. We were kind of talking about it earlier. I thought this was a game that might, in terms of the round differential, feel a little more even, but I always thought the game would itself feel and look very one-sided. M80 are a side who, at the moment, I think especially without Fuzi, you have to see M80 as the clear favourites in towards this game for me. And yeah, I think, Fuzi's obviously been so important to the successes of Wildcard, and unfortunately, not that there's anything, bad about Friend. He's a very solid player, but he's just not part of this team. They don't have the reps with him. They don't know that innate understanding, as we've kind of spoken about these peaks and playing off timings of each other. Fuzi does, and yeah, it's a shame not to have him here. Was it visa issues is why he isn't present, but it's a tough old showing at the moment. 7-0 for M80. Slight tech issue, it seems, over on the wildcard side. Hopefully we can get that fixed ASAP. It's that wonderful Challenger trophy that we are playing for. Some pretty forlorn places there over towards the wildcard side too. Of course, lion's share of $100,000 is on the line here. That Pro League Season 21 spot as well.
I wonder, laid out, $100,000. That probably looks crazy. Like physical.
Like in Breaking Bad, and he lies.
Yeah.
That was definitely more than 100 grand, but at some point you just want to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. you kind of want to see it. I think that would be very that must be really difficult to split between 6 people. If it was all physical.
Yeah.
So it's
like old
nice
movie tropes
idea.
when they're taking duffel bags and that.
Yeah, but that usually just all goes to one guy.
True.
Rather than a team of guys. So yeah, we'll leave that idea in our heads potentially.
Well, slight issues, of course. Hopefully getting fixed as soon as. Aside let's not be having issues though. M80, my God, this has looked very comfortable. And super late round calls being this successful, this consistent, is actually quite a bad showing towards Wildcard. They are getting yo-yoed between the sites and they're always getting it wrong. They're not reading about how to break down this side. And it gets to a point where we do have to look at Stan, for example, the caller over towards this side and say, maybe there needs to be a little bit more of a gamble to be played here. I think the way things are playing out right now, we're very much seeing M80 take the control out the gates. Map control, the pace of the game is all dictated by them, and Wildcard are reacting, but they need to actually proact. They need to get up in their face. I feel like at the moment we're getting to a point where, especially now when we're 7-0 down, what have we actually got to lose here? We have to have some sort of foundation on our CT side. We've got to do something.
I will say, Stan did try that in the previous rifle and just got flattened. Yeah. So, it's really difficult for him and the team to find a way in. It does seem M80 coming into this tournament after what they've learned over in Europe potentially have changed their game up.
Who's Wildcard?
We're as yet to find out, to be fair.
It's a great question, mate. I haven't got an absolute Scooby, but we're waiting for them to come on the server. Seems like Friend is fixed. Headphones are back on, so that's a good sign. Yeah, dap him up. Come on. Let's get hyped up here. Let's get something going.
He's rubbing his hands and everything, man. He was ready.
He's ready.
For that high five.
He wants to. He was warming that puppy up. He wanted the connection. But it seems like we're about to go back on the way in just a second. Headphones are on. Everyone's getting dapped up, and it's time to get the show on the road. But things are going very, very well for the M80 side. Round number 8. Live. Hopefully no more of those pesky tech issues. We get, back on the way. Friend back out with the AWP as well.
Got to give us something here. A complete fresh slate after a break like that, right? Mental reset. And I would imagine Stan's been thinking it over. What kind of changes can I make to the calls and the setups? Felt like that AWP was a big one. It was not super aggressive, but far forwards to begin with. It's going to be an A hit here from M80. A different taste to it than they've previously had, though. More of a straight-up approach rather than this late round, playing it down to the clock, switch up. Just the one smoke, though. It feels like a fake, doesn't it? Swisher's going to go down towards B. Again, there's a gap for information over there, potentially. If we don't overstep the mark, I don't think they will fall into the M80 boost trap quite yet. Such a weird situation, isn't it? You know, you've got a player out, another one ready to go. Now everyone's been smoked off in A main. The AWP goes searching. It's a missed shot from Friend. He will create some space, however. Double for Sonic. JBA gets one before going down. It's a little messy, but it looks like Wildcard have netted there first.
Yeah, so as per that guy's question in the crowd, this is Wildcard. As they go back to get their first on the board, it seems. Unless Slacks can go absolutely insane, but no. Stand off angle. We'll see it off, and that's exactly what we needed. So Wildcard, maybe late, but better late than never. Let's get in towards this game now. Let's start to snowball. We need to. That can't be a flash in the pan. The worst thing that can happen to them here is start to get a round under their bells and immediately get a little bit hyped, and then the door gets shut right back in their face just as they open it up. That would be the worst thing. That'll once again kill the momentum, but also hurt the econ as well. We know that CT economy can be very difficult, especially when you don't have full loss bonus built up for that consistency. So we'll see. Of course, Friend standing at the moment for Fuzi. Didn't get too active though with the AWP just then. He did get caught off guard. Tunnel visioned in, and he didn't expect the aggression out from M80.
Yeah, I mean, he missed the shot as well.
Yeah,
I think he had it. It was a little bit of unfortunate timing. He's kind of lining it up where he stood, and then he went wide.
Yeah.
But still, he had a chance. Did not rightly take it, but is gifted the AWP back into this round. That is so much damage to open us up. Maybe Wildcard are indeed back into the argument. Friend nets one with his HP. Wow. There's kills all over the shop. The crunch comes together nicely. Down to just 2 in less than 30 seconds. Yeah, Swisher and Rek have really got to dig deep here. This is not an easy round. Bomb is recoverable. That's fine. It was never dropped into enemy hands, but it's about where do we finish it. And they basically, if they want to rotate over towards the A side, they've got to go the long way. Swisher surely got to be expected here. No, maybe not. Stan only looking one way. Swisher now thrust into 1 versus 2, and Friend closes that. Back-to-back rounds from Wildcard. Exactly what they needed. And that might start to give them a little bit of hope in towards this game that they can get active. M80, it's not, alarm bells just yet, but you got to make sure that you don't let them get like a 7-5, for example. That would be a really good recovery. Yeah, absolutely. So they kind of have to wake themselves back up. It does seem that this awkward pause in between is just taking some steam out of the M80 attack. They still have plenty of cash. It will run dry after this, but all these nuances, loss bonuses built up, get a bomb plan. You could make something happen into round number 11. Should the need it rise? Yeah. That is a leg. That is a leg. The boost works successfully. Nearly does cost Friend his life, however. It's a lot of resources into that as well. So the site control itself doesn't look fantastic. You've got to fight your way out. And they do just that. Sus will take 1. Worse for wear players. It's another good look for the CTs.
Yeah, it is. Now Sonic going to get one of his own as well. Make that 2. Looking for 3. JBA there to mop it up. And, well, Sin, you got to lead by example now, buddy. 1v4, and surely even the first is not going to be given over. Behind a smoke. This one feels impossible. And now by throwing that molly, his position given away. Deadman on arrival. Doesn't clear his close left. And down he goes to the hands of Stan. Decent rounds out now from this Wildcard side. They look completely revitalized. Took a bit of time for them to get awakened towards this game, but now they're here. Just as that guy was asking who are Wildcard. He's now found out.
It's his fault, mate.
Yeah, he jinxed it. If Wildcard end up winning this game, everyone there in Atlanta, you know who to blame. Him.
Well, North America wins either way.
True.
That's all that really matters. In this game, at least.
Definitely throw a bit of a spanner in the works, though, if M80 were to very immediately go on to the chop and block. They're a side who, we had a conversation about this, and you sort of even spoke about them potentially even winning out the group, right? And potentially even being one of the teams who you could consider a favorite coming in towards this tournament, or one of them. And yeah, if they were to go down into that losers bracket, it would very much change that conversation quickly.
Yeah, one way or another, we both see them in the final.
Yeah.
And then maybe ask me on the final day, are they going to win it? I might indeed lean that way, but Sonic taking a heads-up fight here, is trapped in, so it's another fight your way out kind of situation. And again, finding success. The Tech-9 slips the net, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Rek trying to lurk out onto A, hope for a bomb plant, not going to happen. Sin left with the impossible situation. Biding his time here as he hopes to just take one, soften this final round of the first half that is on the horizon. Flash comes in, he is spotted, he is revealed, and surely his days, moments, seconds are numbered. Friend with the creep will take him down. So I would say 4 rounds is already a pretty good recovery.
Yeah.
7-5, that's a respectable half. And yeah, there is a world here where Wildcard pick up the momentum moving into the second half. No,
very true. I do actually think they've done a very good job of kind of getting back into this and looking competitive, and there's a lot to like. And even seeing, for example, someone like Friend, who at one point he was really struggling. It took him like 5 rounds to get a kill, and then even after he got that kill, he was still looking a little timid, and now not so much. Getting active there, as we saw, making that peek out from Donut. Speaking of, fight in towards elbow here. Lake, full blind on the edge of this smoke. They send him through. A good for one. Brilliant work. JBA going to get caught. So does Friend. There might be more bodies to drop behind this. Stan tucks his head behind that smoke. He'll give away his position, but I don't think he wants to stick around too much for a fight. Rek is so lucky that he only shot 1 bullet.
Yeah, literally. That's crazy. Straight in the cranium. It still does a lot of damage that could be useful later on in the round. Molotov in, and he takes the fight alongside it. Clean kill, but clean trade. And Wildcard just do not have the numbers to go for those even plays. Going to be a bank on B. As the utility comes out slowly from M80. It could be another late swing towards A. That potentially might be overthinking the situation, if you ask me. But all the same, they're taking their time about it. So the 2-man dynamic duo of Susp and Sonic, which is a bit of a tongue twister, to be honest. They are all together. They are somewhat ready for this. Molotov comes in. No kills through the smoke. I think they needed one of those before bomb went down, before mounting this retake, to be honest. Yeah, because they're just going to get chipped away at by the foursome here. Feels pretty good. Slacks and Sin. The German dynamic S's will get it done. 8-4 at the turn of the half. Let's see how things pan out in half 2.
I'll keep your picture in my room, 'cause it gets me in the mood. You're still a friend free in my head. You got me so confused. My mind is full of you. Still want you in my room. Don't wanna get rid of you. On my mind right now, I'm not too late. You got me so confused. My head is full of you. You keep slipping away. I learned the hard way. But something's gotta stay. Don't let it go to waste. Do you remember all of the long nights, warm in my bed, night for the sunrise? That's what you said. You held me so tight each time again. I'll keep your picture in my room. Don't wanna get rid of you. On my mind when I am up too late. You got me so confused. My head is full of you. Don't win silly games. Don't leave me hanging on. Keep me hanging. Said it once, I'll say it again. Your love is what I want. Do you remember all of the long nights, warm in my bed, night for the sunrise? That's what you said. And you held me so tight each time again. In my room, I'll keep you safe. Don't stay away too long, pulling back and forth. Still got me paralyzed. Got what you came for. One thing that I've kept. I'll keep your picture in 'cause it gets me in the mood. You're still left free in my head. You got me so confused. My mind is full of you. Still want you in my room. Don't wanna get rid of you. On my mind when I am up too late. You got me so confused. My head is full of you. I'll keep your picture in my room, 'cause it gets me in the mood. You're still a friend free in my head. You got me so confused. My mind is full of you. Still want you in my room. Don't wanna get rid of you. On my mind when I am up too late. You got me so confused.
Final half of the opening best of ones. It gets serious after this, let me tell you, but it is indeed a serious matchup right now. Wildcard have managed to salvage themselves. It is still not quite out of the woods just yet. They've got some work to do on their, indeed, T side. They're very quickly going to work their way out towards B, though. Slax has maybe given them too much room, loses his head as the Glocks close the gap, and they will continue fragging out. So it's a simple execute. M80 potentially expectant of more of an A-sided play. Julie's get into action. Lake can't make the jump, but
It's a hard one. I'll give him
it
that.
is a hard one.
It's
It
a
is
real
a hard
difficult
one.
one.
Yeah, I've done him dirty. In the 4v3, though, Wildcard looking like a winnable situation. Lake
Hang
can
on.
tap heads, though. That's what he's all about. He's going to keep him going. It's all on Stanislaw. He's in behind. He was flanking around. He was the last man in. His teammates have potentially let him down here. He will have to make noise. Sin takes his head off. And where the hell did that come from?
Oh, Lake, talk your talk, my king. Tell him. Miss the jump, but he don't miss them shots, I'll tell you that. My God, that was crisp. And Stan looks shell-shocked. How have we lost that? He's probably thinking to himself, a 5 versus 3, and they threw it away. What a way to find your way back in towards that round. How have they even done that? The execute on towards the site, onto B, brilliant. But these shots coming through from Lake afterwards are perfect. And Sin also has a bit of a moment of his own. He gets a kill at the same time, and then obviously he gets the last as well to make sure that Stan cannot deny them on that bomb site. Brilliant work coming through. Bai going to come out for Wildcard, of course. They did get a bomb down. They did get some kills, so they do have a bit of funds to work with. It's 1 AK-47, 1 Galil, and a few upgraded pistols to as a bit of a hope and a prayer. But we're talking about you lose this, and the next buy is at like 11-4. I mean, at that point, surely it's too little too late.
Yeah, it is true. They've got to have a game plan here. I mean, look, the execute, the approach was pretty much perfect in the previous round. It is just those final few moments, and potentially the fact that M80 have just got the edge in the firepower today at the very least. I'm sure this rivalry will continue into the annals of North American Counter-Strike, but this best of one, M80 seem to be on that extra level. Slow start for Wildcard. The smoke is going to go down soon, so they've got to get a step on before Slax has an opportunity to isolate a frag. They will all group up in the donut. I mean, totally unexpected. You can see Lake nearly gets caught off. He will eventually pay for his lackadaisicalness, and, well, the rifles come round. They will secure the site. 3 versus 3 on the retake.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Molotov going to go in towards Donut. The spam does good damage as well. Friend will fall. So will JBA. Gets one before he hits the grave, but it puts Sauce in a seriously difficult spot here. 1v2. Looks for the first. He won't get it. Sin. Patience is a virtue. And M80, yet another round. A bomb Pollard might facilitate a buy again for Wildcard here, but I mean, it is a bit of a pick your poison type situation, right? Because you can either buy in here and go for a similar type of buy, have like Galil's coming through, maybe a few Mac-10s if you want a bit more util, and make it another force and say, we got close there, maybe we can do a little bit better next time, or you take a lower buy and then full buy in towards the next of AKs. But either way, the massive risk that's on top of each buy is a really difficult decision to make. So Tough call for Stan to make. It looks like they are going to go for a little bit of a lesser buy here. And will allow them a full buy-in towards the next, but he's still talking about losing this, and it is 11-4 as we spoke about.
Stanislaw. Ooh. Gotta be careful. Spam gets close. It's actually more damage onto Susp, isn't it, really? Oh, and the smoke works in favor of Stan. Sin, unfortunately, is not tall enough to see over it, it would seem. 4 versus 4, recovered rifle. Oh, that's the kill. That's the kill that turns the tide. Doesn't really give any information across either. JBA has taken a massive head with that deagle.
That is a beauty of a shot. My God. But Rek going to start stepping. Wants to try and get into something, and he'll lose his head, just as his teammate did as well. And Slacks might just do the same thing as well. It looks over, but no commitment just yet. Swisher playing the pixel peek over from deep short. He doesn't spot the information just yet, and then met with a smoke as well. He'll tap away. JBA actually does get a little tag on towards him, and he takes a serious one himself. This is a tough 2v4. Do we actually want to give it a go? It seems Slacks is saying no.
Yeah, it does look that way. They don't know about the low HP is the thing. If, again, they were sort of groups up together, catch them before they fully get the bomb down, fully get into post plants. Could have thinned the numbers. Not the case, not the world in which we live at the very least. So, Wildcard fans rise up in this one for sure, as they will win out that half by. They've been forcing the issue quite a bit as this second half has gotten going. So, hopefully it continues for them. Give us a bit of a game here that we wanted for our NA matchup, marquee matchup of the opening games at the very least. But we'll see. The save doesn't actually facilitate a lot for M80. Just caught the money a little bit there at the end. So they might even save again, but then they've got a few players on the low buy. So it's a really good chance for Wildcard to break the bank, rack up some rounds.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big round that they've actually turned on its head as well because of the investment they had. It was only really upgraded pistols. That was a half buy. There was not much of a commitment behind it, but they made it work. M80, we are going to go for that force. The only reason they could basically go for the force is because Slacks and Lake had just shy of 2K. So for them, they're thinking, we can sort of try and drop around this and facilitate an okay-ish buy. And they have. AK of Slacks, good for the first. Susp will get clipped. He's really struggled to get active Susp here.
Yeah, man.
North American team, North American soil, but he hasn't found his form just yet.
Strange to see as well, you know. I think he was one of the sort of standout factors with that Metasport run at the showdown and everything that, you know, really surprised a lot of people. Wildcard, though, as a squad, will manage to bring it back. Completely open here, and you can't give Lake chances like that. He will take them. He will run with it. It's still open. What is happening? JBA brings it down to the 1v1. Definitely salvageable here. Bomb not been planted. He's got it on his belt. He's only got 49 points of HP, though. Sin remaining calm in this situation, not moving. Maybe has heard a step or two as well. JBA trying to clear some angles. He really wants this fight. Sin, the IGL might not be his wheelhouse. Doesn't want to give him that fight. Just looking to edge out the information. Molotov comes in. There it is. And that's the brains beating the brawn. JBA frustrated. He couldn't get it.
Yeah, well played. Really, really well played there. My, oh my. That was a round I really feel like Wildcard needed. They had to break the economy of M80 if they wanted any chance of making this work, and it's not to be. I mean, it goes close, right? And because it did go down to 1 versus 1, there is still going to be a tough conversation about the reinvestment here, which won't be the same as Wildcard. Wildcard have got funds, so they can buy back in, no issues, where it actually will be probably a little bit more awkward towards M80 as it is, but either way, what have we got to work with here? Wildcard chances are slim now to get back in towards this game. Nade breaks open the smoke, and Lake will get his before Friend pop flash bounces in his face, but the instincts are lively, and he'll get his kill.
Sin wants a bit more, and he will get it. Quick flick. Really big kill. That cages them in now as well, is the difficult thing. I think he will have been close enough to hear the bomb drop sound potentially as well. So really could make a difference into the attitude of M80. It does seem like they are starting to bolster up around here. Friend creeps in, an angle that he will win. They're so close to the action. The MP9, though, does not want to take this fight round the corner, just holding the mid information. So his teammates can join in. This could be a double swing here that works nicely. Slack's going to go digging for it. Loses out. It's set up for Lake, though. Don't quite call it just yet. Of course, it's the support of JBA that's coming in. Lake trying to bait out the shot, and unfortunately just wasn't ready for JBA in the mixture. And they will clean it up. So Wildcard right back on the board. Still a long road to close this gap, but they're staying in things in the second half.
Economy broken now as well for M80. They're not going to have a buy-in towards the next. That's going to hurt. Really going to hurt. At the very most, maybe Lake can pick up like a hero rifle if he wants, but I don't think that's even worth it. Well played. I think Friend does really well just to make sure that he doesn't let things slip away from him. Tough predicament, and yeah, exactly as called. Yeah, Lake will go for that forced buy. I mean, actually, the fact that it's a forced buy is interesting. I thought they were going to go for a hero rifle on him, or a hero buy of some sort, but the fact that they're fully invested into this is quite the big call, and Sin, that was not the big brain play. He gets clipped by Stan immediately.
An opportunity for Wildcard to show us what they've got at this point. There is still this big question around whether they can match up, whether they can be the dark horse that JRT feels they may well be. I think he is, you know, manifesting a little, all that, and it is unfortunate without Fuzi. I think with Fuzi, there's a fair argument for
with
it, to be
Fuzi,
honest.
I would talk about them potentially getting out of groups.
Yeah, he's just such a pivotal part of the team.
Yeah.
You know, Friend, though, it's taken a bit of time. He's started to slot in better as the game has gone on.
It's true. He's actually looked a lot more comfortable as it's come through. You know, the first, like, 6 or 7 rounds, you could definitely tell he's a little nervous. I mean, I really don't know how much LAN experience he's had in general.
It's true,
right?
Man.
You know, he's also quite young. I mean, obviously, Permitter played a lot of Counter-Strike at the moment, but it's 99%, if not 100%, all online. So, for him, how many has he played? How many times has he played in front of a bit of a crowd, too? We pop on towards the A site, and Wildcard will realize nobody's home. Red carpet rolled out for them. Bomb plant to come through, and for M80, it's a full save. They fully invested in, and they gambled. And the thing of a gamble, sometimes it doesn't pay off, and this time it hasn't. They lost Sin. They won't lose anyone else.
An anticlimactic finish to the round, as Wildcard will not want to risk losing anyone at this sort of poorer venture, ultimately. It's not that far, the gap now, actually. A couple rifle rounds go their way, and suddenly we could be looking at that even scoreline. I think we were due in overtime now.
Yep.
Be too quick of a day in the office, I think, for us in the commentary booth if this was another one-sided affair. So,
I mean, let's just see. We've had 13-3, 13-4, 13-2 so far. So it's been pretty one-sided games. At least this one has some, you know, sustenance behind it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like I've got my appetite.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I've finally got a bit of CS in me today. But we will have a tack pause called by M80. And I think this is a good time to have a conversation, right? Because they're in a bit of a weird predicament in terms of they force bought in towards the last round, but yeah, they save 4 out of 5 investments, but they only have 1 rifle still. It's, you know, 3 upgraded pistols. So it's not exactly a great buy, but you don't want to reforce again in towards this round because you want to have the 2K at least to buy in towards the next. So at that point, arguably it's 11-8. 11-8. It's a close game. It's much closer than it felt even 5 rounds ago.
Yeah. And I think as you've spoken about a couple times, as we've seen, you know, a number of the teams have false starts on their T sides in terms of the comeback. You just have to ignore the top of your screen and grind those rounds out. This is where the value of someone like Stanislaw will really come in. Just keep calling the rounds, keep up the energy, keep up the positivity, and it's just like, because look, man, when teams scrim, you know, you sort of turn your rules off and everything, and they can scrim for like 30 rounds a half or whatever, because they're just going to be running A executes is potentially what we're doing today. And ultimately, that is a good mindset to take into a situation like this. So I am very, very curious if they can keep it up. Timeout from M80, of course, that puts a bit of fear into you. Nothing from our standpoint expected into this round, but it is that next rifle that is just around the corner.
Yeah.
A stack. No one's going A, at least for now, unless Wildcard decide to pivot, which is entirely possible.
Well, we'll see. Stan so far, though, leading the charge in terms of Opening duels 4-1 for him. He's doing a really decent job. Cracking open sights and giving his team just a bit of space to work with. This one, though, for Wildcard, we do have to once again look towards Stan a bit because there's zero presence shown in the map. There's no information for them to work with. They did have a gamble stack towards A, and they've pulled them over towards B, and this is the right call. This is where we're finishing here. Famas boosted up. We'll get one. Stan will still get another opening kill. Now putting him at 5-1. But he gets traded immediately.
Bomb spilled forwards, though, is the big thing here. They, again, just have to not panic. Execute comes out like normal. Susp tracking a kill, but opts not to take it. The boost is there once again. The bomb dropped once again. 8 seconds here. 7 seconds. It looks like they have indeed recovered it. Swisher's going to go flying through. It is protected, so they get the plant. Didn't need it in the end, but it could have gone sideways, gone upside down even. That was a panicky moment for a few there. All the same, that 11-8 that we were banking on, it's really close now. It is really close. Cannot reiterate enough. A good, clean rifle, just wipe them off the board. It is going to be the key swing round.
Absolutely. This is arguably the most important round we've had of Counter-Strike today so far. At 11-8, M80 are back into a buy. It still requires a FAMAS, a couple of them, and an MP9 too, so it's not the healthiest, but they lose this, they're broken. They win it, and they're back. And it looks like so far so good. Rec, Lake combined for a killer piece, but Susp will take this A site, and he's scratching his head. No one's home. Rec, I don't think he spotted him out. Lake in a bit of trouble as well. Tries to shoot off the back of the shadows. That'll cost him his life.
Rec's still here, though. Rec's still in a good position. That is a slightly deeper smoke than you might want. And Rec will capitalize. Missed shot from Friend. Again, could have swayed things. Not going to be the case. Stanislaw is still very far away from the action. Holding the flank. Is there anyone, again, to give me a kill? Super curious approach here from M80, I have to say, right? They take the timeout before the half buy, before the low buy. That kind of puts Wildcard on edge. Then into the rifle round, Wildcard are expecting something different from the team that's lost momentum, just taking the timeout. But actually, M80 kind of keep it simple.
Yeah.
Mid-aggression, it's not that deep. And Wildcard are the ones that feel they have to react to the incoming reaction and maybe have overthunk themselves ever so slightly. So I think whoever's called it, I would imagine maybe that's like a bit of a deaf read. Really, really smart. Really, really intuitive stuff to just confuse Wildcard a little. But I'm going to go down here. Still definitely on for the retake.
Yeah, the best thing Rec can do here is just stay alive. Don't peek. Buy time at the very least. Maybe make a bit of noise. They know he's there because he obviously just threw that Molotov. But do not die. His position is super strong. And now the fact that he's getting support as well. Friend missed shot. Molotov will come down. They'll trade mollies, but he somehow gets out. Not for much longer. Swisher on the swing. And speaking of, another one going to come through as Rec gets caught. Stan also fall to the hands of Slacks. Match point M80. It feels like it's been a long time coming, but my God, in these last few, they've been made to work for it.
Yeah, and really tense though. It's a 4 versus 2. Really, really tense getting into that retake. So they certainly are feeling it. But it works out. The methodical play, the time taken to get that retake going is very clean in the end. Yeah, it's unlucky. I think the mid-round doesn't look too bad from Wildcard. It is just that initial loss of manpower that ends up costing them with, yeah, potentially a play that's a little out of pocket. Incredibly aggressive. They go for it once again into this one, though, and success is found. Sonic with the blind spray down. Takes the head of Lake. There's a return back in. It's all over the place once again, as to be expected from this game. And as it starts picking up, Wildcard are the ones picking up the kills. Advantage. Ooh, nearly solidified. Not quite. Rec is here soon. He's taken fights, and he is winning them. 4 headshots in a row on that A1S. And it's just down to 2 to save the game for Wildcard.
Friend might be really needed to try and make this orb sing loud here. He's already got one, but this is a tough 2 versus 3. They're still committed to this B hit. JBA as well. Started a little slow, but he has come alive. 14 and 12 for him, the youngster. Been impressive so far this game. Had his moments, had his time, and they're going to call on them. Smoking towards short. They're big flanking here, but they might actually overthink it. No, they've caught it perfectly. Rex should be able to close it right here, right now. Down goes the bomb. Down goes JBA. Down goes Wildcard. M80 take the North American derby, and they take it in style. But my God, Scriv, they were actually made to work for that more than we thought.
Yeah, for sure. I think, actually, I think that fits pretty nicely. It's a good map for Wildcard. They put themselves in a relatively good spot. Scoreline-wise, there was a moment there where they were able to get back into things, where they were able to